Take a look at how it goes, guys. Let's try and learn something from this map. Spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side, representing Team Liquid. He is up 2-1 in this best of 7 show match. It is Snute. And up here in the top left-hand side of the map in the red, representing Asterion, it is Harstem. So, yeah. What's the plan, Harstem? He's going 16 gate, so it's a standard gate, opening, gate, scout. Snute, being Snute, is like, I'm just gonna go 17 hatch. I'm like, you a friggin' madman, Snute? He's like, I just like to hatch first. It's what I do. Even on the smallest map, I'm like, just go gas pool and kill him. I don't know. Snute, I'm sure, is going to show us something beautiful and disgusting anyway. Like, Snute does understand how to play these maps. As much as I sometimes wish he would just try the most straightforward, simple all-in, Snute is a guy who, like, looks at stuff like that. He's like, but that's only a 70% chance of winning. They can defend if they do this and this. I think this strategy has an 85% chance of winning, you know? Like, he's going to try and actually look for what he thinks is the hardest build for the Protoss player to stop. Now, we do have a second gateway down, so it is, yeah, a 2-gate opening. I was like, you can't just go gate nexus normally against a gas pool, but because it was hatch first, he actually could have done that this time. He could have just expanded, but he's going to go for the 2-gate opening. I'm pretty sure one shade gets your adepts into your opponent's natural. So this is actually, oh yeah. And because Snute just went hatch gas pool here, now was that pool slightly earlier than normal? Let's take a look. 35 seconds, 148. No, that's a normal pool timing. So you know what? He might actually not be ready with enough Zerglings in time for these adepts. So if Snute's smart, he doesn't build any more drones. And I know Snute's smart, so he's not going to build any more drones. And he's just going to build Zerglings from here. Otherwise, these two adepts are going to be a giant pain in his ass. Nexus does go down before the adepts. Warp gate now starting up. Double chrono on those adepts. We've got 4 Zerglings on the way. He needs to go up to about 10, maybe 12. Potentially even 14 Zerglings, since link speed won't be done. It's better to build extra Zerglings so that you can knock the adepts back and then just go back to droning. We'll have to see how he chooses to play it. We do have 1/3 and no, a 4th adept on the way as well. Okay, constant probe production behind this. Still no second gas. I actually wouldn't mind Harstem staying on 1 gas and just building like a robo and just doing an all-in. You know, like a charge lot or an adept all in. We'll see how it goes. He's still got 30 seconds till link speed finishes. Does take out 1 Zergling. Another Zergling falls, doesn't commit. Snute starts to pull drones ready to surround since those adepts were in the open. If you can surround the adepts with drones, they do go down pretty quickly, but doesn't quite find the damage there. These queens forcing the shade out from very far away, and that really limits the threat because these adepts can't get into that gap in the minerals before it runs out. So here we go. Now we've got 4 adepts though, and that's kind of scary. 8 more Zerglings are on the way though. Snute is building a ton of units. If there's one guy you just pull back at this point against, it's got to be Snute. But no, he's going to commit. He's going to commit. 2 adepts in each mineral line. Does start focusing down drones in both at once. I know it's in the very top and the very bottom of the screen. These adepts in the main go down, and the adepts in the natural are going to go down as well. He gets 4 worker kills, and he's up at 26, 27 probes versus 15 drones. That's an epic lead. Snute is just going mass Zergling for the counterattack, though. Right now, there needs to be a wall off here, like another pylon. He's already got a Dropper Lord. Is that a Dropper Lord? Yeah, that's a Dropper Lord. He's just going to drop Zerglings on top of the Adept. He needs to wall off right now. Does get the pylon down. Okay, good wall off. That might save him. He's pulling probes into the battle here. That Adept shaded, so he gets behind the wall. Great shade from Harstem. But this Zergling just elevatoring Zerglings, and that pylon goes down. Great focus fire there by Snute. These Adepts fighting as hard as they can, but I think, yeah, like I said, against Snute, you've got to just back off on that map. I don't think you can commit with the Adepts because Snute will play it so safe and he will have plenty of units. So even if he just backed off, Harstem would have had a sizable worker lead, 2 base versus 2 base, and would have been able to play that out. But Snute, perfect defense, splits the Zerglings in half, only loses 4 drones. You'll notice he pulled the drones away from those Adepts as well, so they couldn't keep focusing them down while they were getting killed by the Zerglings. And Snute there takes down that map, and yeah, we're doing losers pick, so we're doing Eastwatch. Oh, custom melee Eastwatch. Let's go. That's Harstem's pick. This is the map where I got destroyed by destructible rocks yesterday. Let's hope that doesn't happen to Harstem here, and we'll see how we go. When did he build that Dropper Lord? Some point while he was dealing with the pressure, probably the moment he cleaned up the Adepts. I reckon he made that Dropper Lord, basically, as soon as he did that, I would imagine. Whoops, I Made Harstem a ref. There we go. Harstem says, good luck, have fun. Put me in, coach. Snute says, already. Good luck, have fun, dudes. Alright. Snute's only one game away from closing it out, guys. So it is, of course, $70 for the winner, $30 for the loser. So a sizable cash advantage for winning. This isn't just a fuck around match. I know it's not like an epic amount of money, but for playing a couple of practice games here on the New Balance, it's not half bad. So thank you everyone who did support our tip goal last month. That's actually what led into this show match and a series of other show matches we're going to be running. We've got Zansterverse Showtime tomorrow, so it should be pretty epic. Down here in the bottom left-hand side, in the blue, representing Team Liquid, it is Snute. Just one game away from managing to close out this series. Up here in the top right-hand side, in the red, representing Asterion Gaming, it is Harstem. Of course, Home Story Cup and GPL champion from 2016. Harstem had an incredible early 2016. I'm really hoping he kind of reclaims some of that glory this year. He had a few pretty nice finishes last year and quite a few unfortunate near misses in the group stage. Snute gonna open up with the gold base. Now what's really interesting about this for you guys who aren't familiar with Eastwatch is look at how far the path to that gold base is, but not just that. What's this? That's a destructible rock tower. 500 hit points, 3 armor. It takes a while to take down. However, if you do take that down, it will knock rocks down, block off this path, cut off that gold base, and that will be a 2,000 hit point, 3 armor destructible debris, which will take forever to take down. So if Harstem can find a way to separate these bases, like shit, man, if you scout this gold, I almost feel like you just make a Void Ray. You just like come over here and kill those rocks, and then just send like Adepts in your Void Ray into like this base. Another move I've been wanting to see on this map, a move which I believe it was actually Showtime who did it to Snute, if I remember correctly, back in the early days of Legacy of the Void, was you do a giant Adept attack, and then as you're shading through and the Zerglings are chasing you, you come in with Dark Templar, you break the rocks down, and you cut off the Zerglings that are chasing you just after you shade through. It's like the most technical, ridiculous move that shouldn't work consistently, yet somehow always works on these gold-based maps where there's destructible rocks cutting them off. So Snute going to be quite conservative, only going to send 3 drones to the gold. So he doesn't want to deal with a huge hiccup in mining by sending all the workers down just yet. And you notice he's actually gone for a very fast third base as well. Of course, Harstem here with the Nexus first is actually just building a Zealot. Now, considering what he's seen, I really feel like Harstem should be sending that Zealot across the map or not building it at all. I don't know if Harstem fully realizes that he's up against a 3-hatch build here. I don't know, because Harstem, like, why would you build the Zealot? Like, there's absolutely 0 threat from your opponent in this scenario. Maybe it's just part of his build and he just always goes it no matter what. But yeah, I think Harstem's a little bit confused. I don't think he expected this gold base. Normally, you'd move down there just to double check it. So we're going to have to see exactly where Harstem's mind at with the follow-up. Who knows? Maybe he just knows about it and he's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to play a normal game. It's not a big deal. I got a very fast Nexus. It's cool. Gonna have to see exactly what his choice is. Looks like it is going to be the same pattern as normal, but he's going for a Stalker this time and actually is going to catch that Overlord a little bit deep. So that Overlord, even though he'll make it back to the high ground, he'll be heavily wounded. And as the Oracle flies past, it'll provide high ground vision. So that Oracle will be out in about 25 seconds. And the Stalker probably will just... Oh, actually, his Stalker's going to go there. You know, if you put a unit there, it provides high ground vision to this tower, so you can actually move a probe there, and your Stalker there can kill it. Something a lot of players don't realize is this high ground is the same level as this high ground. So this isn't actually a good pervert pillar. It's like an annoying pervert pillar. Like if they don't bother to send a spotting unit there, they won't be able to snipe you. So interesting that Harstem maybe doesn't know that feature of this map just yet, and actually isn't going to stop with his Oracle to kill the Overlord. He's going to go for a very fast third base behind this, but I feel like a few missed opportunities to annoy Snute and to do more damage so far. Meanwhile, Snute though, droning really hard, and he's really about to explode into those drones. 2 queens at the third, that's why the Spore's delayed, the 2 queens can cover it. Oracle comes in, sees the queen on the edge and just backs off. He's like, yeah, I know there's a Spore Crawler there, I'm not going to go any deeper and waste my shields. So the real job of this Oracle now is to patrol this middle area and look for drones passing between the bases. Sees the gold base now. He knows what he's up against 100% in case he didn't already. And he's going for the Robo, the Forge, and the Twilight Council behind this. Back at home, do we have a Phoenix out? No Phoenix just yet. So this is a faster transition, I guess, out of Harstem into the ground units. But really needs to get rid of this Overlord, man. Just letting that Overlord see everything kind of sucks. And there we go. That Stalker will finally get rid of that. Snute playing very blind on the ground this game. I believe because of this Overlord, he's just got no Zerglings out on the map. And instead of building Zerglings, he's like, nope, just have drones, couple of queens, actually 6 queens, and going into roaches and... Oh, you dirty boy. Dirty boy. He's building a butthole. Okay, Nidus Network is going to come out. It's a big map. It's probably a pretty good map for it. Now, because there's a faster ground transition for Harstem, that does play into his hands. The earlier he can just get out a ton of Zealots, Immortals, all that sort of stuff, the better. But he's still building a Warp Prism. And I mean, it comes down to where's the spotter unit for Snute? He doesn't even have an Overseer morphed. What's going on? Snute doesn't even have the gas for the Nidus to go down. He's got, what, 4 gases of income? What's he going to use to spot a single roach just walking across the map? I think Snute's just realized he lost his spotting Overlord. And he's like, ah... Oh, that's kind of awkward. Let's just walk across the map. Maybe he's just going to pop it out front the base. I'm not 100% sure. We've got sentries on the way. Harstem, strangely enough, hasn't taken these rocks down. Normally, you'd see those rocks go down ahead of time just to limit the attack avenues. But is building Immortals, is making more charge-outs, has a ton of gateways, and there we go. Okay, the Nidus Worm's going down. Harstem's seen it. He's seen it. He's warping in more Zealots. I don't think that's going to work. I feel like there's just going to be too many Zealots on top of this. Like, surely it'll just go down straight away, right? Immortals on the way, charge, about to finish. The Queen's popping out. The Transfuse is good. Holy shit. Oh my god, the mass Transfuse. It just doesn't die. It just doesn't die. And just like that, Snute's just going to overwhelm. There's just too many roaches here. That is 20 roaches and so many Queens. The Oracle comes in. He just can't do it. Harstem taps out. He says, well done. And GG's. Holy shit. Snute takes the show match 4-1. Super decisive play. Good choice on such a big map where it's hard to kind of walk across. Catch your opponent at that sweet spot. Take him out. Of course, Snute just stopping just below 60 workers and going all in there. GG. Thanks so much for games, man. Please tweet DM me your PayPal for prize dollars. Sure, they know that. No problems, man. The roach is back, baby. So I've been saying it a lot, guys. You wanna come on? He says, late game on Blackpink kind of sucks, Snute says. I wish I could do it as well as Cyril, but it's hard. He says, sorry for not having a whole lot of Hydralisk showcase. And I'm like, dude, it's fine. The Roach is back, baby. The Roach is really good right now. Just because Protoss players, I mean, we've had this meta developing for a long time. Oh my god. League placement. Wow. This is EU, where I obviously cannot ladder with my 400 ping. Oh, actually, we can kind of watch those replays, right? Let's hop on Discord. Let me find Snute there. I don't think I have Snute. What's your Discord? I don't think I have him there. He says, I don't know. Alright, we're gonna try and get Snute on for a quick Q&A. Ask any questions you want, guys. Could force fields have prevented units from exiting the Nidus? Alright. How do I add a friend? Add friend. Okay. Yo, yo. All right, I'm trying to get him up on Discord. Snute says he's not as used to Discord.
Hello.
Ooh, I hear his voice. What up, man? How you doing, Jens?
Testing, testing.
Sounds good, dude.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm
Let's
calling
see.
on the wrong PC because I'm a moron. Sorry, dude. I was calling on the wrong computer because I'm an idiot. How you doing, man? You're coming through fine.
Yeah. Okay, all good.
GG, well played, man. So yeah, not too many Hydralisks there, but you know, Serral, even before the patch, was playing a lot of Roaches in the finals against Showtime and stuff. Do you think this is just like a trend because Protoss players are being so aggressive with Charge Lot Archon?
Yeah, pretty much. You're very concerned about the like 2.5 base pressure timings. It's very easy to die to Archons and the charge slot warp-ins. Protoss players have been taking very late third bases, so I thought, I think on average, like it's a pretty good thing to do.
Yeah,
It makes the defense easier, for sure.
Sue's been doing it a lot as well in Korea, and I feel like there's a lot of these games, right, where if the Protoss oversteps slightly with like the Charge Archon, sometimes you just kill them with the Roach counter attack, like the final game of Leipzig. Did you watch the whole series, by the way? I know a lot of the time pros are kind of practicing and don't watch it until a bit later on.
I did see most of the final series. I'm going to rewatch it later, so I don't remember absolutely everything, but I think I saw the very last of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Showtime not committing as hard with his like Charge Zealot aggression because he knew Serral was playing a lot of Roaches and was playing quite safe. But then in the final game, he committed a little bit more, and Serral was like 55 drone. I could be slightly off on my memory, but it was like 55 drone, mass Roach speed, like shuts down the pressure and just like runs across the map. And Showtime was like, oh, okay, I'm in position to stop it. And he's like trying to drop Archons to catch the Roaches on his third. And those Roaches just like lured him out of position. And another 15 Roaches just like ran into the natural and just won the game, basically. You know, killed like 25 probes. And I feel like there's this window where if the Protoss is like delaying the Immortals a little bit too long, you know, committing a bit too much to the Charge Zealots, then like Roaches are this very scary, aggressive unit. But of course, for the viewers on stream, are like, well, why don't people always just mass Roaches? Why have people been massing Hydras for so long? That always just comes back to the fact that Roaches suck if we go late enough in the game, right? They're just kind of something you want to get use out of early enough, which I guess was your problem on Blackpink to some extent. You didn't really find a way to get any damage done to Harstem. I mean, I guess that's the defensive power of that map as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. I really wanted to do a counterattack, but there was just too much pressure, so I just ended up in a defensive spot against a double Prism. It's really tough to defend against two Prisms, and it took a while until I was able to kill one of them, so he just played too fast for me in that game, and I couldn't keep up with attacking.
Yeah.
By the time I wanted to attack, he already had 4 Templars, so I was like, man, it's gonna be tough from here.
Yeah, it was like that moment where you just got Ravager Hydra and you're like, he has 12 Sky Storms saved up on these.
Yeah.
Okay, like, this is gonna be hard. So this game was interesting. He picked Biogenesis. What were your thoughts as soon as he picked Biogenesis? Because I feel like it's a bit more Zerg favored, but I don't know. Obviously, you're playing at a much higher level than I am. So what are your thoughts on the map?
To be honest, I haven't been able to play that many ZvPs on this map just yet. So I think this game was a little bit non-standard from the start, because pretty much every single game I see the Protoss players are blocking the natural base of Zerg, forcing out a 17 pool.
Yeah.
But in this game I didn't see a Probe Scout, so I was free to take my natural base. And that worked out really well against this two gate opening, and I could do this counter drop. So I'm not sure exactly why Protoss players wouldn't want to pro block on this map, but for some reason, that's how the game went.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you know, my pleb experience in this very limited time we've been playing this map is a lot of just gas pool classic 19 drone single queen roachling all-ins, or the therapy all-in as I like to nickname it. Something a laser never stops doing. Like I was saying when I was casting this game, I was like, well, if this was a laser and not Snute, I'm pretty sure he'd just do that, because a laser never gets bored of that build and wins a lot of games versus very good Protoss players with it. And there's good reason for it, you know. Dark just keeps doing that build as well. It's one of those builds on these tiny maps is very hard to stop, but definitely has been a lot of like aggression. But if you do think about the rush distance, you know, there is always the weak side of like, yeah, Zergling speed seems very scary on a short rush distance, but there's also less room for you to gain value with that movement advantage, right? So sometimes it is better to just try and get your expansions up and use more solid things like roaches. But definitely with the drop angles as well, I think that's the big problem a lot of Protoss players have, because you can see where I'm signaling, right?
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah,
very,
it was
very
a little bit of a
divergent
mistake
drop
from me
paths.
not to set up 2 overlords from the start. I should have done that because there really isn't a whole lot of fallback left for me if he doesn't commit that hard with the adepts.
Yeah.
So I got quite lucky that the all-in worked. He knew that I didn't have a third base, but still committed into my base with the 4 adepts. So yeah, I think I got a bit lucky from here. 2 queens at the front, and killing drones is nice and all, but yeah, at this stage the game was basically over, I think.
There was this moment when I was watching this, and I was like, if it was another Zerg player, you might catch them being greedy, but you kind of built so many Zerglings, right? Like you were kind of like, I think I've just got to go counter all in, and yeah, I think the moment he split his adepts, I kind of knew at this moment. I was like, oh, he's focused just on like, let's just execute the split, but let's actually look from his vision. I mean, he didn't really see the Zergling count until the last second. So yeah, and these adepts didn't quite make it in the gap in the main base either, so they just get surrounded. But even if he kills like 8 drones here, it doesn't really matter, right? He's just got nothing behind this, and the counter attack hits so hard. And if you had another Overlord as well in the main, like there's just no way he stops the Ling Flood. Even pulling home with the 4 adepts, it would have been tough. I think he would have held probably very confidently if he's got 5 or 6 adepts at home, right? But yeah, definitely a very kind of chaotic sort of opening. Thoughts better than Boardwalk or worse?
Very non-standard. Better than Boardwalk, I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit more fun to play on this map than Boardwalk. Boardwalk games were either very cheesy or like gold base. How to say this? A lot of them were about the gold base. And if they weren't about the gold base, then they usually turn into these stale 50-50 split map scenarios. And in a few cases, something like a 3 base siege tank all in through the middle or something like that. I think this game has a little bit more different strats, so this map, I mean, I think this map has a bit more different strats, so I think it's more fun than Boardwalk.
That's just, yeah.
Yeah. Boardwalk just wasn't one of my favorite maps last season. I thought it was quite boring, to be honest. So this is an upgrade for sure.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Can we very quickly hop out and hop into Catalyst, like really quickly? I just want to very quickly talk about the Hydra upgrade, since obviously that's nice to talk about, and we can see the one game where you did a nice little Hydra timing and it still worked. But yeah, basically it's funny because like for me, I hate Biogenesis at first. I haven't played it enough, so I'm not like vetoing it or anything, but I'm like, man, things hit you so fast on this map. Like, oh, it's so easy to just die. Whereas on Boardwalk, you had like the tight ramp. So as like someone who's not competing and looking for that consistency and is just like, oh, I just want to kind of like have fun. There's this random gold base and all these weird drop angles. Boardwalk was like the perfect fun ladder map for me. But I can totally see why Biogenesis, with its more straightforward features, even though it's got the tiny rush distance, it's just kind of, it's more consistent, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more fun in the mid stage of the game, I think, because it doesn't have the same type of split map nature as Boardwalk did. And, well, I guess both maps are a bit similar in the sense that you need to learn like a whole different type of setup in the early game. For example, the Protoss players pylon blocking on Abiogenesis. Like, I thought I would have to 17 pool, but the probe never came, so I think the game was a little non-standard from there already. And of course, there's a whole meta surrounding the 12 pool openings that Sir can do. And to be honest, I haven't really had the time to learn everything about that map yet, but yeah, hopefully soon.
Still all new. So on this one, were you planning to do the Hydra attack from the start, or was this a reaction? Was it something which was prompted by him doing a bit more damage with the Oracles and Adepts than you expected?
So at this point, it was safe to assume that it was going to be a Stargate, because the Warp Gate research was so late. I went in and scouted the Stargate, so I knew that there would be some time to go for something like a Hydra all-in without being at risk of losing immediately to something like a Twilight Council all-in. So it was something I wanted to do from the start going into it, actually, to showcase the new Hydra timing a little bit, I guess, like something you can do with the Hydra, something you can do with the Hydras even if they're slow. Like that's what I wanted to show here, basically. That's instead of relying on Hydralisk reinforcements, you can just use pure Link Bane and just move in with a ton of slow Banelinks, and it hits pretty fast. Now you could do this before also, but I think relatively speaking, this all-in hasn't really changed all that much compared to how a lot of the other all-ins have changed. This one is not nerfed nearly as hard.
Right.
So
So it's just
I wanted
the
to use this
initial
one.
like 16 or 12 hydras with the range upgrade, the groove spines, no muscular augments.
Yeah.
The idea being you kind of set up a concave, right? And once you have a concave of hydras, they kind of have to fight into it because this is pre-Colossus or Storm or anything like that, right?
Yeah, it hits really fast, and I wanted to do this also because the range upgrade for the Hydras is a tiny bit cheaper now, so this all-in, you actually have 50-50 extra. It's not a big deal, but you can squeeze in a little bit extra. Like
Hey,
right
that's
now,
2
I
banelings,
was
man.
close down to like 50 gas, 50 minerals. Like I was able to spend quite decently up until this point. Let's see. Not that many larvae left, but as Zerg you can dump quite a lot of gas into Banelings with the 4 gas. And at that point, it becomes very, very hard for Protoss to hold something like this. You
Yeah.
can queue up Queens behind it also. I didn't really do that right now. I was supposed to start Queens right now to deal with the Prism and all that, but you can do that also. At this point,
Do you think
probably want to take... Yeah, sorry.
do you think Sentry Stalk is a little bit better at holding this, or
I've got no clue, to be honest. I think warping in units on the other side of the map is probably not the way to go. But it's just a very hard all-in to hold for Protoss. They need to cut workers very early.
yeah?
And chrono boost a lot of units out. Stalkers probably do help a little bit, but I think no matter the composition, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Like, the funny thing is, if you're stuck on Zealots, right, the way Zealots work is you either have enough of them and you jump in the army and kill it, or you don't have enough and you get completely rolled. And you add Banelings into the equation, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I can't just jump on the Hydras because the Banelings will just annihilate my Zealots, right? So it puts the Protoss in this very awkward position where if they are relying on Zealots, I actually kind of, I would say I think you need to warp in Zealots on the counter attack because it's probably the best way you're going to trade with your Zealots. But like, realistically, you're wanting more force fields, more Stalkers, more Immortals, like anything that can fight without getting just shat on by the Banelings, because the Banelings are the big thing which kind of make the Zealot investment kind of terrible, in my opinion. So I like what you said, though. I think not really focusing so much on composition, but more worker count. We see Harstem going higher than you on workers, which we remember this is the PvZ dynamic, so it's not the same as a Zerg versus Zerg where you go up 4 workers and it's fine. Going up 5, 6, 7 workers as a Protoss against a Zerg is a lot, especially because he's going Templar Archives, right? He's going 8 gateways, but he hasn't really got that production up. And it's only at this point where he comes in and he's like, oh, you don't have gases on your 3rd. And I think this is the point where it kind of clicks for him what he's facing. And he doesn't really have a response. Like, his shield batteries weren't quite ready. If they were ready, maybe that would have made a difference. But even then, it would have been really tough. Like, he's going to say, okay, let's make Archons. Maybe if he has 2 Archons, 3 shield batteries up behind them, healing them, maybe this looks completely different, especially if you can kind of flank with some Zealots to, like, minimize the Baneling splash, yeah?
Yeah, the War Prism can also deny reinforcements. Like, I'm not sure, it's just a really, really strong all-in by Zerg. It's very cheesy, but incredibly powerful. So, yeah. I'm sure the force fields could have been a little bit better, but honestly, it's been a long time since I did this all-in, and it's a little bit cheaper now to do it with the missile upgrades being 50-50 cheaper.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just
So,
it's something the Protoss players would have to talk about, I guess, like how to hold this.
Well, it's like the meme, right? You know, the one with like the different levels of the brain, where it's like the different, you know, actually it was you that tweeted that, wasn't it? Wasn't it you who made
Drogo.
that meme? It was Drogo that made it? Yeah, it was like the friggin'...
Yeah, this is one of those builds, basically.
Yeah, like it starts out like the low level of brain power is like, oh yeah, 85 drone, Hydra Bane, like wearing your opponent down, going to Broodlords. Then you've got like, no, 70 drone Hydra Bane. Then it's like, the ultimate one, of course, is like 45, 50 drone, Hydraling all in, don't even make Banelings, just try and kill them as fast as possible with like the silliest possible all in. And shit, man, it's hard to stop for sure.
Yeah, the difference since the patch is that, well, I mean, of course you had to win with the timing itself before, but you don't really have much room for a second round. If your Hydras get caught and if you if you lose momentum at the very first fight, then there's no chance for you to actually retreat a whole lot with your Hydras.
Yep.
But yeah, there's just so many of them, you know?
Is anyone still playing Colossus in Europe? I know they were for a few weeks and then they kind of gave up on it. Is anyone still doing that?
I think some still do, but I haven't really practiced all that much since Leipzig or even before, so I'm not quite sure what people are trying out in ZvP right now.
So just for you guys on the stream, Snute says hasn't practiced that much before Leipzig, so only 12 hours a day. Just so we all know.
I actually cut a lot of practice before that, but I'm gonna get back into it now, I think.
Nice.
Been a little bit lazy.
There was some very good games. It was a strong result. Top 8 was very nice.
It's better than expected, I think.
Yeah, awesome. Last point on the Hydra upgrade, since that was one of the purposes of this Showmatch. Obviously, part of the whole changes, and I was saying to people as well, one thing is maybe you guys will just be doing the same builds. It's not like people have had time to adjust to this patch. Maybe we'll see the meta shift, right? We're just kind of making some preemptive like analysis. We're not saying, oh my god, this is definitely going to happen on that. One thing I was thinking of, by the way, I was talking about how, yeah, you can't really retreat if you go no Hydra speed. You were saying that if your Hydras get trapped, if you're playing against like a Stalker Sentry composition, especially on a more wide open third, or you're attacking from 2 angles, I feel like actually going Hydra movement speed would be better than Groove Spines for a timing attack. I know you can't shoot over force fields, but kind of like, I guess it kind of comes down to if you can kind of wrap around, right? If your opponent's kind of falling back a little bit and you don't have Groove Spines, it's very hard to kind of get your Zerglings and Hydras to engage at the same time. What are your thoughts? Do you disagree? You think it's just better to shoot over force fields, or?
I think it's the range upgrades for any timing attack is probably better. I think it would have to be a very large map to be beneficial to use the speed first, and then you have to be in a situation where you're actually constantly reinforcing, I think. So that would be a map like Eastwatch, for example. But the thing is, it's kind of pointless to reinforce with Hydras that don't have range, because I think they're so bad in actual fights that attacking without having at least grooved spines, it doesn't really make that much sense to me, I think. I would always get the grooved spines first because of defense, and if you're going to do null end, then I probably would do it a bit like this.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, I do think so. I noticed one thing in this attack. One thing that actually hurts a lot is if you go back a little bit, rewind to maybe.
Oh, sorry. I actually just hopped out of the replay. Sorry. So
okay. Well, what was happening in the replay was that I was some of my Hydralisks were still shooting the third nexus when I was trying to pull my army towards the wall off. And in that situation, it became very punishing for me to have Hydras out of position because they had to spend a ton of time trying to catch up. So it's very important when you play since the patch to play in a way where your units don't get stuck shooting something useless. Like if they're out of position, moving something like in a simulator, then it hurts a lot more now than before if you notice it too late, because it takes so much longer now to get the Hydras into position. So that's one thing I noticed. You really have to put a lot more thought into where the reinforcements are coming from and whether they get stuck or not. Because corrections take a lot more time now in terms of Hydra positioning.
So if you get in the sweet spot, they've got to fight into you. Like, it's like, hey, yeah, these still operate fine. But yeah, the moment you've got to maneuver a lot, then they get kind of gumped up a lot more. So a little bit less flexibility with it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit less room for error, but the timing itself is fortunately still strong, and the links are still very mobile, of course. So,
especially with that 50 mineral, 50 gas, there's 2 extra banelings you get. Hells yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit nice, not only for the extra unit, but it also gives you a little bit of an easier time, let's say, just getting started, because when you're, for example, being pressured by Adepts and Oracles and Phoenixes, it kind of means that you can squeeze out 1 extra Hydra just to have 1 more unit during the whole duration when the upgrade is ticking. So you get a little bit more defense power simply by the 50-50 change, so that's very nice, I think.
Cool. And what's your next big tournament?
Let's see. I don't think I have anything until Katowice actually.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, yeah. No IEM, Pyeongchang, no WHG. I'll just be watching from the sidelines and learning from the pros.
Keeping your builds secret for the big one, man. Katowice is the the big
Something
one.
like that.
That's where the money's
Also
at, my
streaming
dude.
though.
All right, awesome. All right, so you're gonna be streaming a fair amount. I'm gonna link up Snoot's stream in chat, guys. Go give him a follow. Oh, what's your URL these days? Is it just Snoot?
Liquid first.
All right,
Liquid
my shout out command's not working. That's weird. Should just be Liquid Snoot. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna link it manually. That's fine. Good job, Nightbot. Way to just take a break when I'm trying to link people's streams. Awesome. Good shit, man. All right, everyone, go give Snute a follow. Make sure you follow him on Twitter as well. If you want super high level pro gameplay with actual commentary and a webcam some days, probably the best stream to watch out there, along with his teammate TLO. So awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Just DM me your PayPal info. I'll send you the money. But thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
All right, have a good night, dude. Catch you later.
Yeah, see you next time.
Guys, thank you very much for watching. Big thanks, Fumble Fungus, for